Hello, we are live. Oh my goodness. So I want to talk about my favorite topic, ending. Okay. I think that's what that is. Okay. Ending poverty. And here's the thing, we will never end poverty with programs, with government assistance, with all of the outside trappings that people talk about constantly. And this has been my mission in life to talk about abundance, wealth, the word poverty from a completely different vantage point because we are creating our own abundance. We are abundance naturally. And I know that when I have conversations and I'm on podcasts, the very first question that I always get asked is, what would you tell somebody if they're just completely broke and they don't even know where to go next and they just can't get out of the fear? Because literally, it's the fear that's keeping us trapped where we are, whether it's fear of not having enough money, fear of not having enough love, fear of not being good enough to do all of the things that we say that we desire in our life. So the very first thing is we have to begin to change our frequency. We have to begin to look at what energy are we putting out there. I love Einstein. He has so many great quotes. And one of my favorite quotes is everything is energy and that's it. Because that really is. I can talk and I can put string words together and come up with sentences that are really, really key to I'm trying to do a live here. This is so interesting. That are really key to who we are. And if we don't understand that this energy that we are vibrating from is actually creating our world, our reality, then we will constantly be looking at our reality and saying, oh my God, it sucks, right? Because that's what this conversation is. If you are feeling in poverty and you keep focusing on your poverty, guess what? You will get more poverty. You cannot think to be out of poverty by focusing on the poverty. I love in the Bible where Jesus is presented with the devil and the devil standing before him. And what he simply said was, devil, get thee behind me. Because that's really the energy that we're talking about is not focusing on that, just saying, whatever this is, you're behind me now. And I'm going to focus on number one, I'm going to focus on my future. Number two, I'm going to focus on those things that I am looking to create in my life. And when you begin to create from that space, the whole world just opens up for you. And I have seen it a million times. More importantly, today, what I want to talk about is this challenge called the 40-day Woo to Wealth Challenge. Now, I talk about woo woo a lot because I was woo woo before woo woo was cool. However, woo woo is just science. It truly is. It is what we call a universal law. And so, because science is finally catching up with us in this knowingness, that the things that we've been talking about, woo, this ancient wisdom, is really something that works with this energy, these universal laws. So I want to share a little bit about this concept of a universal law so that put it in a context for you to say, oh, okay, that makes more sense. A universal law are things like gravity and electricity. So, because you understand those concepts, I want to start with them. And what it means is that a universal law is consistent, it works always the same way every time. And when you learn how to harness it, then you can create the good. Because let's use electricity. If you get hit by lightning, it probably doesn't work out really fantastically because you don't have any way to harness that. But we've harnessed electricity and now we have little flips in our houses that we can turn on lights. We have cell phones that we can charge through electricity. We've learned how to harness it. And here's the thing about electricity, though, and gravity, it works the same way for every person, everything on the planet, always the same all the time. And I love the quote in the Bible because it says it rains on the just and the unjust alike. Rain, when it comes down, it's not up there. There's no judgment. There's nobody sitting on a big throne that says, oh, you're going to get more rain and you're going to get less rain. That is not what's happening. So when you have a universal law and you begin to understand that these laws operate for all of us exactly the same, That's when you begin to understand that you are creating everything that you desire right here, right now. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is there's this whole thing about manifestation. And we've got from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, which I think is a beautiful book. And I don't teach about mindset because this body is what's programming this mind. This mind is just a little AI system up here being trained by what we feel. So then there's Rhonda Byrne. She wrote The Secret, which fabulous. Okay, there is no secret. This has been the truth of our globe since the beginning of time. And what she fails to point out is that we have to do it through our feelings, through our emotions, through activating this frequency. You cannot activate a frequency with this. The frequency starts here. Now we can use processes that we use our mind to interpret, which is what we're going to do with this 40 days. And if you look at these universal laws, they are always the same. This law of frequency is as above, so below, and what you, as you believe, so you create. That's basically the theme of Jesus. So when you begin to understand that what you are doing and thinking and being and feeling is creating your reality, then you go, oh my gosh, that's not the reality that I really want to create. So then you make that shift. And part of this 40 days is aligning your frequency. And so it isn't about doing affirmations. There is going to be an activation. There's going to be a speaking out loud situation for you for 15 minutes a day, a meditation, and then a journaling. That's really all it is. And this 40 days, which is so brilliant because 40 days is a very spiritual number. Any of you that read the Bible understand that there was the Jews were wandering in the desert for 40 days, and there's a whole lot of other stories in the Bible about the 40 days. And if you really grasp that this is such a magical, mystical, spiritual number, then you can see, oh, 40 days. Of course, I understand now. So we're doing this process for 40 days, and it really truly is an activation of your frequency. So you begin to send out that energy for those things that you desire. Once again, manifestation is an overused term to say, well, I'm going to manifest something. And you think about it, and that's what The Secret teaches and a lot of other mindset gurus, if you will. It isn't about the fact that you are going to manifest something. You are manifesting every moment. In this very second, if you're watching this video, you are manifesting something. The question is, are you aware of what it is that you're manifesting? If you're manifesting shit, it's because your frequency is set there. So we want to recalibrate your frequency to this place where you begin to manifest. Basically, manifesting is just experiencing your reality because you're in the vortex of this reality. You're sitting smack dab in the middle and you're looking outside of yourself and you're seeing what's being created right here. So if we shift that, then the world shifts. The next component is to begin to expect it. So we'll talk about those during this 40 days. And so I've done this 40-day process multiple times in my life. And that's why I really, really was so intent on delivering it for the 40 days before 2026. Actually, we're going to go straight into January 1, which is the culmination of this 40 days to set you up for 2026. 2026 is, I can feel it in my beingness. It's going to be an incredible year. It's going to take off in ways that I can't predict. I can just feel it right now. There is such a beautiful energy that is building. And there's a lot of feminine energy that's leveling up, rising up, whatever you want to say, on the planet. Why? Because we've had all of this masculine construct, nothing to do with men or women. It's a masculine energy. And this masculine energy has not been balanced with feminine energy. I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about the energies. So when we begin to balance it, holy moly, magic so happens. It flies off the chart. But here's the thing is if you don't understand that, then you're just destined to repeat yesterday. And when you repeat yesterday, you're going to get exactly the same results. So if you want to put this in a nutshell, today what you are experiencing is everything that you programmed from the day before and the day before and the years before and the decades before that. You are creating this reality based on everything that happens in your past to create today. This is a replication of all of your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions. So in 40 days to completely recalibrate that is insane what happens. So I'm going to tell you about the first time that I did the 40 days. It was back in the late 80s, early 90s. The late 90s, early 2000s. This gentleman named John Randolph Price wrote a book called The Abundance Book. It's a little dinky tiny book. And in it, he talks about how he went and researched, which I've done myself, researched spiritual teachings throughout time. And there is a golden thread that goes through all of the spiritual teachings, which is there is only one God. Now, each teaching says that. So believe me, there's not 15 different gods. There's one energy. And science has shown that is, and you may not hear this word enough, but it's consciousness. It's this whole energetic field. The mystics call it the web of life, and the physicists call it the unified field. So when I say this, it's a little challenging for people sometimes because they don't have a figure to attach it to. It really is just energy. And so as humans, because we are finite beings, it's very challenging to grasp that the energetic field that within which we operate is so huge, and you can't grab it. You can't touch it like that because it's not matter. It doesn't matter because it's not matter. We live in this 3D world that because the energy molecules are slowed down to such a degree that you can see me and I'm projecting on this screen. That's truly what we're doing in our lives. We've moved to this place where we can actually project ourselves on a screen. We'll be doing these holograms of ourselves soon. So if we take all of this and put it into the context that this is a universal law, that your frequency is creating everything, the first thing we have to do is change the frequency. That's what this 40 days is designed to do. And as I said, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I picked up this book. Now, I picked it up as a result of being in a course, which I share in my book, Your Inner Billionaire, that I was in a financial freedom course. And I'm sitting there because what I had at that point in my life was this almost $500,000 IRS tax lien staring me in the face. It was as a result of me being principled as a young 20-year-old and saying the freaking government is not good stewards with my money, which I still believe that. Unfortunately, sometimes, they say you can't fight City Hall. Well, you can't fight the IRS. I've tried and it didn't pan out very well. But the fact of the matter is, here I am staring at this lien and I'm in this financial freedom course and people are talking in the course about, oh, I owe my parents $500 or I'm $2,000 in debt on a credit card. And I'm in that class with my little selfish brain saying, y'all don't understand. I could sooner cure cancer for myself. And believe me, when you read the book, you'll know that that wasn't a good declaration. I could sooner cure cancer for myself than figure out or get rid of this IRS tax lien. That was my belief. So your belief is creating your reality, and it would continue to be my reality until I said, oh, there's a different way. So coincidentally, which there are no coincidences, this book shows up. And I'm in this class, and my spiritual teacher, she says because I said this out loud, bull. I said this out loud, and she didn't say these words, but this is what I heard her say is, I want to just see if this is okay. Hmm. I heard her say that get over yourself. Now, that's not her words, I promise you. She was very much more spiritually oriented and said something really kind. And at the same time, I heard get over yourself. And it was a wake up call because it wasn't about getting over me. It was about getting over my story because my story was I couldn't pay that off. It was too big. It was way too big because there wasn't a lot of money coming in at that time. So I pick up this 40 days or this abundance book. And it's a process, very, very much what we're doing here. I've made it a little updated in a more feminine energy way. And all of a sudden, within 18 months, literally, it wasn't all of a sudden, all of the doors, all of the paths, all of the opportunities started to just open, 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 open. And in 18 months, the IRS lien was dismissed, released. And my biggest desire at that point in time was that I could own my own home, because I was at that point, I was a mortgage professional. I was giving people loans for houses. I said every time I met with a client, anybody can get a loan except Miss Debbie Dobbins, because when you have a $500,000 IRS lien and you want to buy a $200,000 house, the lending community says no, because the IRS could come in and take the house. So why would they want to lend me money? There's no what do you call it? There's not a great risk factor in that, or there's too high of a risk factor. So the whole moral of this is that I started the 40 days, and within 18 months, this thing was completely released. And this is the same girl that was sitting in a class saying I could sooner cure cancer than get rid of this IRS tax lien. And I changed my mind in a holy instant, changed my mind. So now it's up to you to make a decision. What is going on with you? Are you broke? Are you feeling like you're stuck financially? Because this is what happens as well. When I teach people about abundance, you may be making plenty of money, and for some reason all of it just seems to disappear out of your bank account, because it's not just always being about broke. It's not always about having massive debt. Sometimes it's just about up leveling what I call your money thermostat. So you have this thermostat that says, no matter how much money I get, however many raises I get, I can't get past that. I still am living the same lifestyle, the same hand to mouth. So all of these things are broken open when you start changing your frequency. So that's what we're doing in this activation of these 40 days. And in these 40 days, you will get this beautiful journal that you download it, and it'll share exactly what your 15-minute process is. But more importantly, every Wednesday, we will meet on a Zoom call so that you can connect with the people that are in the program and share what's going on with you, because this is what is so great about support. And one of the things I share in my book is I used to be a crack addict. So one of those communities was called a 12-step program. The reason communities of like-minded people, or people that are struggling with the same thing or have the same desires, grief counseling groups, 12-step programs, all of these where you come together with people that are on the same vision and mission that you are, you support each other. So we'll do that through this Zoom call, one live Zoom call every Wednesday for this entire period, and then a WhatsApp group so that you can connect on a regular daily basis and give all of your joy and your commitment and your fears. Just share them, and the group will support you. This is such a beautiful experience. And as I said, my first time was with the IRS lien. My second time was after the IRS lien was released. And then I'm creating this beautiful mortgage company. It just went off the chart. I was able to sell it and move from Texas to California. And most people move the other way around because it's a lower cost of living in Texas. And I go to California, and I decided, I set this intention, I'm doing my 40 days, that I wanted to be a speaker, an international speaker. And as I'm doing my process and I'm visioning, literally this woman just calls me out of nowhere. I have no idea how she found me, how she got my number, and says, would you like for us to hire you to go, I mean, as a contractor, to travel around the world and teach leaders? And they paid me way too much money. When she told me how much they were going to pay me, I thought, oh my God. And fly first class and travel around the world. Well, yeah. And it's all because of this 40 days. It's really setting that frequency to activate that vibrational flow. So I'm going to say that this is a really great opportunity for you to just get into that flow. This whole thing is $21, which frankly, I would have made it free. And what I also know is that as humans, you don't value free. This is a thing. It's a money mindset or money story. You don't value free. Because if I give it to you for free, you won't participate. I promise you. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So $21 is, my gosh, it's a DoorDash bill or 2 lattes. You can create what you want, what you desire for 2026 in these last 40 days of the year. It starts on the last day to register is Friday at midnight. We're starting Saturday morning with a Zoom call to really ground you into this process, set your declarations, get the whole process about what each one of these activations is. And I promise you, promise you, promise you, promise you. And if $21 is a problem for you, let me know and we will see what we can work out. And I don't have any problem saying if for some reason you don't do it, or you say it didn't work for me, you can have your $21 back. This is not about the $21. This is about you activating your abundance frequency to the place where nothing can change your mind. You know that you are abundant by nature. This is your inheritance from the point when you came out of the womb and you showed up on this planet. It's only our stories that have kept us from it. And it's time to rewrite your money story, your abundance story, your wealth story. And I'm so excited to be sharing this, and I'm going to look forward to seeing each and every one of you. So for now, Queen of Magic